ก็ขอสวัสดีทุกท่านนะคะก็สวัสดีตอนบ่ายด้วยนะคะก็วันนี้ก็เป็นอีกบ่ายหนึ่งนะคะที่เราน่าจะได้มีการเสวนาร่วมกันนะคะซึ่งต้องบอกว่าเป็นการจัดเสวนาวิชาการนะคะที่กสศเนี่ยจัดมาแล้ว16ครั้งนะคะแล้วก็มีวิทยากรเนี่ยก็มากกว่า16คนด้วยกันนะคะแล้วก็มาจากหลายประเทศด้วยนะคะซึ่งในวันนี้เราก็จะได้มีอีกกรณีศึกษาหนึ่งนะคะที่เราจะได้มาทำความรู้จักนะคะเรื่องของMicrofinance นะคืออะไรนะคะเดี๋ยวสักครู่จะได้รับคำตอบนะคะแล้วก็วันนี้นอกจากได้รับความกรุณาจากวิทยากรนะคะจากทางฟิลิปปินส์ด้วยนะคะแล้วก็ทางองค์กร Yunus ด้วยนะคะก็เรายังมีผู้ใหญ่ของกสอีก2ท่านที่อยู่ในวงนี้ด้วยนะคะมีคุณหมอทันทิพย์ธรรมรงวรังกูลนะคะท่านเป็นที่ปรึกษาโครงการของกสศนะคะเรื่องของการพัฒนาชุมชนที่ใช้เป็นฐานด้วยนะคะท่านก็กรุณาอยู่ในวงนี้ด้วยอีกสักครู่อาจจะได้มาคุยกับทุกท่านนะคะแล้วก็นอกจากนี้ยังมีท่านอาจารย์สมคิดแก้วทิพย์ด้วยนะคะท่านก็เป็นผู้ใหญ่กสศแล้วก็บริหารโครงการทุนพัฒนาชีพที่ใช้ชุมชนเป็นฐานด้วยนะคะแล้วก็ในวงในวันนี้นะคะต้องบอกว่ามีจากหลายภาคส่วนนะคะมีทั้งคุณครูอาจารย์นะคะแล้วก็ตัววิสาหกิจชุมชนนะคะที่มาจากทั่วประเทศนะคะแล้วก็รวมไปถึงนะคะมีทางนักวิชาการนะคะแล้วก็ทางภาคนโยบายเนี่ยได้มาร่วมวงอยู่ในวันนี้ด้วยนะคะต้องขอบคุณทุกท่านให้ความสนใจนะคะคิดว่าหัวข้อนี้เป็นประโยชน์อย่างยิ่งนะคะหัวข้อชื่อประชุมก็คือว่า Microfinance นะคะจะเบิกทางสู่ความเท่าเทียมนะคะแล้วก็มีตัวอย่างนะคะจากกิจการเล็กๆนะคะที่เริ่มต้นจากของกลุ่มสตรีนะคะแล้วก็นำไปสู่เรื่องการศึกษาของเด็กและเยาวชนได้อย่างไรนะคะซึ่งวันนี้ทางคุณเรมอนนะคะซึ่งเป็นวิทยากรจากฟิลิปปินส์เนี่ยจะมาเล่าให้ฟังนะคะว่าโมเดลฟิลิปปินส์เป็นอย่างไรนะคะต้องบอกว่าโมเดลเรื่องของไมโครไฟแนนซ์หรือว่าเรื่องของเครดิตที่ว่าเนี่ยจริงๆแล้วเนี่ยเป็นเครื่องมือที่สำคัญอย่างยิ่งนะคะแล้วก็มีความน่าสนใจเพราะว่าตัวเคสกรณีศึกษาที่เราจะนำเสนอในวันนี้นะคะต้องบอกว่าเป็นเคสที่ทั่วโลกนะคะกำลังทำอยู่นะคะโดยฟิลิปปินส์เนี่ยก็มี movement ที่สำคัญในประเทศนะคะซึ่งเดี๋ยวมาเล่าให้ฟังจริงๆถ้าลองเรียบเรียงให้ฟังก็คือว่าตัวหน่วยงานนะคะทางที่คุณเรมอนจะเข้ามานำเสนอเนี่ยหรือ NWTF เนี่ยนะคะก็ Negros นะคะ Women for Tomorrow Foundation นะคะก็เป็นองค์กรที่ทำงานมาแล้วกว่า38ปีนะคะแล้วก็ทำงานเพื่อส่งเสริมช่วยเหลือกลุ่มสตรีนะคะที่มาจากกลุ่มรายได้น้อยนะคะโดยใช้โมเดลกรามินแบงค์นะคะกรามินแบงค์หลายท่านอาจจะพอคุ้นชื่อนะคะหรือหลายท่านอาจจะยังไม่รู้จักนะคะแต่วันนี้จะได้รู้จักกันกรามินแบงค์เนี่ยต้องบอกว่าเป็นธนาคารนะคะที่ก่อตั้งที่ประเทศบังคลาเทศนะคะโดยนักเศรษฐศาสตร์นะชื่อมูฮัมหมัดยูนุสนะคะท่านเป็นนายธนาคารเป็นนักเศรษฐศาสตร์แล้วก็ท่านยังได้รับรางวัลโนเบลนะคะสาขาสันติภาพด้วยนะคะเมื่อปี2549จากการทำธนาคารกรามีนเนี่ยแหละค่ะธนาคารกรามีนเนี่ยก็เป็นธนาคารที่ก่อตั้งขึ้นมานะคะโดยพยายามที่จะให้มีการกู้โดยไม่ใช้หลักทรัพย์ค้ำประกันนะคะให้กับกลุ่มที่มีรายได้น้อยหรือกลุ่มยากจนแล้วก็เน้นไปที่ผู้หญิงโดยเฉพาะนะคะเพื่อให้มีกิจการของตัวเองแล้วก็สามารถจะดูแลลูกได้ด้วยนะคะนี่ก็คิดว่าเป็นตัวอย่างที่น่าสนใจมากซึ่งทางวิทยากรทั้งสองท่านจะมาเล่าให้เราฟังนะคะว่าในแต่ละโมเดลที่ท่านทำอยู่เนี่ยท่านได้นำโมเดลกรามินแบงค์เนี่ยมาใช้อย่างไรนะคะแล้วก็ประเทศไทยเนี่ยในแง่ของการทำงานเองเนี่ยเราจะมีการทำงานอย่างไรด้วยได้มีการเปิดมุมมองนะคะแล้วก็เห็นเครื่องมือในการทำงานตรงนี้ด้วยกันนะคะก็คิดว่าน่าจะเป็นวงที่เราได้ทำงานด้วยกันเป็นได้แลกเปลี่ยนเรียนรู้กันเยอะเลยนะคะก็วันนี้นะคะการประชุมเนี่ยจะใช้2ภาษานะคะใช้2ภาษาแล้วก็รวมไปถึงนะคะเรายังมีนักวิชาการของกสศด้วยที่จะมาร่วมประชุมในวันนี้นะคะคุณอิฐ ปักกันธรนะคะก็อาจจะมาอภิปรายนำให้กับทุกท่านด้วยเหมือนกันนะคะก็คิดว่าตอนนี้น่าจะถึงเวลาแล้วนะคะก็อยากจะได้ชวนทางคุณเรมอนได้นำเสนอนะคะก็so I would like so good afternoon Mr. Raymond Serios, a very warm welcome to the forum. We are very grateful that you are here with us, and we are looking forward to learning from you. And so I think without further ado, start with you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this forum. Tantita, thank you for those kind introduction. I will begin my presentation with a video, and then I will go to my presentation.
The woman is the light of every home. They make up half of the world's population, and sadly, they comprise 70% of the world's poor.
Isang una mandigado gigami kasi nagabaligya man lang kami sa taktak alope. Amo na nga nakapatapos sa amon ang amo ina ang negosyo.
Di isa kabisad to na gin ko ang bata ko damo siya mama kanamik balato ka damo na siya idna namik pa kuno ang ginakaon sang baboy sang ginakaon namon.
Helplessness in the face of need is very hard to live with.
Ang hambal ko sa akong kaugalingon bisan magkainano ang kabataan ko hindi ko gusto magsunod sa amon pangabuhi.
The thousands of women like Elizabeth, Emma, and Christine are the reason for being of Negros Women for Tomorrow Foundation. NWTF was founded in 1984 with the aim to help women achieve self-sufficiency and self-reliance, particularly in low-income, in depressed urban and rural communities. NWTF's primary objective is to effect positive change in their lives by giving them access to collateral-free credit and non-financial support and protection. NWTF developed the Dunganon Graduation Program to address the needs of clients at each stage as they scale up and expand their business activities.
Ang dako gid nga nakabulig sa akon ang Dunganon. Kung hindi man sa ila, wala man ko nakakanihuha nga para makapundar man ako sa amo sila nga negosyo.
For the likes of Elizabeth, the Client Services Department provides services that mitigate effects of adversities and reversals. These include financial education workshops, scholarships, medical missions, and access to health services, among others. IGSS, or Income Generating Survival Skills, is NWTF's unique way of assessing the income potential of clients by identifying their innate talents and their capability to earn a living. This is the basis for loan approval at the first level. When the client needs more capital to acquire assets and equipment, they move up to become Project Kasana clients.
Dira gid ko nakaguro ginhawa na yasang nakadagot akong kabataan. Dako gid pasalamat ko sa ila.
The Kasanag phase prepares those like Emma to transition to the next level when they are ready to move to the Dunganon Bank. Hope is high when a woman is ready to join the mainstream banking sector. A recommendation by the Project Kasanag account officer to move loans to Dunganon Bank upon renewal only means that another economic victory has been gained.
Wala man kuya sang iba niya ginasaligan niya mo kundi amo malang ni ang NWTF nga amo ginisayang nakabulig sa ako. Dire ko nakita nga bisan babaye lang ako, may ikasarang ako. Nga kung hindi sa ila, wala ako nagtinad kung ano man subong ang ako nga naagom nga kaginawaan.
NWTF is a microfinance NGO that is headquartered in Bacolod City, Philippines and operates in the islands of Negros, Cebu, Bohol, Leyte, Samar, Panay, Palawan, and Southern Luzon.
Nakita ko nga nag-amo na kami dito. May tindog ka na balag.
Kung gabakas ka, anuha ka, masinso ka gid.
Dako gid pasalamat ko sa Dunganon sila dako gid sang kabalasdan ko yan.
NWTF has been here for more than 35 years already. We are proudest with the awards that our clients, the people that have started with us, for the efforts that they have done. Really, the heart of NWTF is seeing clients and their families move out of poverty.
It continues to provide the poorest with real and meaningful opportunities in its never-ending work towards a better tomorrow.
Thank you so much for that. Let me share my my presentation. Can you please allow me to screen share? Yeah. Again, good afternoon, everyone. That video went directly into NWTF being a microfinance organization. Let me go back a little bit and explain to you how microfinance started. Most of you probably know this story, but allow me to retell it. Microfinance started in Bangladesh, started by Professor Muhammad Yunus back in the mid to late 70s. As he was coming back from the US, he went back to a university in Bangladesh, Chittagong University, and then he found that there were women across the street from the university, and they were really doing nothing. They were not able to sell or what, and they were not able to find income earning opportunities. And then nobody else provided them credit. You know, when he was talking to them, he realized that they actually had skills, and but nobody believed in them. So he went into a nearby into the local bank, and then asked if they would give credit to these women, and they didn't. So he went ahead and provided the security for that, and then that really was the start of microfinance. And microfinance has been interpreted in so many ways, but I think the most important thing here with microfinance really is that it fills a need, and that need is because there are people, especially the poor, who do not have access to credit. And with access to credit, it really opens up a lot of doors. It really opens up a lot of opportunities. Let me go deeper into that. I'll start with a little bit of background, particularly for NWTF. You already know from the video that Negros, it's called NWTF because Negros is the name of the island where we're at in the Philippines. It's in central Philippines. If you look at the map, the one in the middle really, which looks like a sack. So in the late 70s to early 80s, Negros, which is primarily a monocrop province, anchored on sugarcane, we suffered tremendous losses because of changes in policies locally and internationally. It was at this time that our province really hit rock bottom, and we were in an economic crisis. We were even featured in Time magazine at that time for having experienced famine and poverty locally. NWTF is really a group. It started as a group of friends who wanted to do something for the families of the sugar workers, particularly the wives of the sugar workers. And NWTF started what we call a mother bakery cooperative. It is basically teaching mothers or the wives of these sugarcane workers who to bake and sell bread, and at the same time other food stuff like jams and the like. So the founders basically taught them these things, taught them to cook, taught them to bake, and then to sell them locally so that they'd have extra income other than the income that their husbands brought home from working in the sugarcane fields. So this is when in 1986, we became Negros Women for Tomorrow Foundation, and then we registered as a foundation which aims to help poor women achieve self-sufficiency and self-reliance through credit assistance. Why credit assistance? Because from the onset, our founders already noticed that it's not enough to just give to teach the skills, but you need to give some sort of credit or some sort of money in some shape or form, because then that's the only way it unlocks opportunity. And then we also had what we call in '89, one of the founders of Negros Women for Tomorrow Foundation was invited to study with Professor Yunus in Bangladesh. And then from studying Grameen Bank there, she actually replicated the credit methodology of Grameen and opened up 4 branches in the 4 poorest cities or poorest towns in our province at that time. That training with Professor Yunus started a very deep friendship, actually. The Philippines, NWTF being one of the foundations that replicated Grameen Bank internationally, was one of the first, actually. The first was actually Malaysia, AIM in Malaysia, and then the Philippines was the second one, the second country that replicated Grameen Bank. So from our history, fast forward to year 2000, we started to offer already Project Kasanag, which is our small and medium enterprise loans. We realized that small loans, typically $50 to $200, which we were offering with Project Dunganon, was working for them, to start up or continue on with their very micro or small business. But then after some time, you'd really see entrepreneurs. You'd really see people among our beneficiaries shine, and they'd be bigger already. And they did more credit, more sophisticated, not only financial products but other non-financial services as well, which I'll be talking about later on. And then we also started offering micro insurance to our clients. What is micro insurance? Micro insurance is basically your regular insurance, life plus medical insurance, packaged into one, but in small amounts, made or designed primarily for our target clients. And this is designed based on their needs. In 2005, we actually started Dunganon Bank, which is a microfinance rural bank based in the Visayas. We again saw a need when we started Dunganon Bank, and particularly for farmers. Agrarian reform was going on full scale here in the Philippines. Hence, we launched the micro crop loan to cater to their needs and make sure that they're able to till their lands. The problem here in the Philippines, particularly, is that the land is given to the agrarian reform beneficiaries, but then credit, or they don't have the very little access to credit. The government does not necessarily provide credit for them to be able to till their lands. Hence, they still go back to the cycle. They have land, but they're not unable to till it, so still go back to being poor and not being able to provide for them and their families' needs. That is why in 2008, we actually formalized our commitment, our internal commitment to our clients, which is we started with the client services department. And the only goal of the client services department is to increase the income and decrease the expenses of our clients. And how do we do this? We do this by providing various non-financial services. Our non-financial services currently with the client services department is anchored on a few things. Number one, education, and we provide scholarships, education loans, and other types of assistance for them to be able to educate their children and members of their families. And then we also provide healthcare, both preventive and curative healthcare for them and their families. And then the other thing that we do is of course business development services and financial literacy, which we provide on a per industry, per income generating activity basis. In 2009, we even expanded this and introduced renewable energy and other and strengthened our focus on the environment by introducing innovative environment-friendly products such as solar lamps and cook stoves, because we've seen particularly in this area, especially in the more rural areas, that they didn't really have access to energy, or if they had, it was really poor and not really that dependable. And then in 2014, NWTF actually, we celebrated our 30th year. And we already had 180,000 clients at that time in 73 branches. That was the time we also introduced our WASH program, which is water access, sanitation, and hygiene. And we started this, again, coming from a need. And what was that need? We saw that some of the provinces here in the Philippines where we really are, particularly in Negros, was probably in the top 5 economically. But then a lot of people were not practicing good hygiene and proper sanitation. Huh? So they were, because again, it's really sugarcane fields that we have a lot here in Negros, then they'd be practicing open defecation. Hence, we wanted to correct this. We wanted to change this. And we introduced the WASH program, which has been very, very successful ever since. Right now, the WASH loans cover around 10 to 12% of our total portfolio. Okay. So what is the vision, mission, and goals of NWTF? Our vision is really to be a sustainable institution of change and build vibrant Dunganon communities. Dunganon is a local, in local dialect, actually means dignity or honor. So we want to build honorable communities. Our mission is to provide sustainable financial and client-responsive developmental services to the poor. So what we want to be is not just a financial institution, but provide them with everything they need to complement that credit. Okay, and how do we do that? What are our social impact goals? Our social impact goals are as follows, and we really track this on a regular basis. 80% of new clients should be below the poverty line upon entry. 50% of them must show an upward movement within 3 years from entry into the program. And then 30% of them should move out of poverty 5 years after entry. I'm happy to report to you that we track this using the Progress Out of Poverty Index of which is a tool based on the Annual Poverty Survey of the Philippines. And generally, we are close to hitting these targets. We are around 70% for the first one, and then around 40% for the second one, and then a little less than 20 for the third one. This data is as of 2020. And what do we provide as a microfinance institution for our clients? Simple. We provide several loans. For general loans, we provide a general loan, which is the main track. It's the primary loan product of the Dunganon Microfinance services, which is basically their business loan. This is the first loan that we offer them. This is meant to either start if they don't have an existing business, or if they have an existing business, grow their business. Secondly, we have a PD graduate loan. So as I mentioned earlier, these are the clients who are already at the small and medium enterprise level, while the PD general loan earlier was actually the clients from the micro enterprise level. So we start with the poorest, we start them with the PD general loan, then we go to the PD graduate loan. And then thirdly, and on certain instances, we provide a bridge loan, usually offered to unwillful delinquent borrowers who signify their desire to revive their business activity. Primarily, the last 3 years since COVID and all these natural calamities that have been coming every couple of months, we've released a lot of bridge loans actually to help out clients who did not really want to default on their loans, but had no choice because their business suffered. And then fourth, we also restructure the loans of our clients from time to time, depending on the areas, to give them on the reasons, to give them a chance to revive their business. For special loans, and this is to complement, so it's a second, a third, or a fourth loan to the regular, to one of the general loans that they get. One is we have a loan for asset acquisition. Basically, asset acquisition is for their business assets, usually a small engine, a a delivery vehicle, or anything that can or maybe a computer or that can help them in their business. Secondly, we also have home improvement loans, and home improvement is something like is offered actually starting the second year they are with a program to allow them to improve and to even rebuild their houses, so that they'll have a better shelter for their families. As to developmental products and services, these are the products which are offered actually by our client services department. We have PhilHealth loans. PhilHealth is the Philippine government's health insurance program, but there is a payment, there's a premium to do this. So what we do is we provide access to that. We have a very small interest. We have a subsidized loan for this. And then we also have insurance packages for our clients. Our insurance packages range from 20 pesos, which is around 40 cents in US dollars, a week. And that's what they pay to be able to get insurance. And that already covers them for life, accident, and even health insurance. And then we also have education loans, which we offer to our clients also to help mitigate the expenses of clients for their education needs. In the Philippines, lately, the last, I think, 4 or 5 years, tertiary education, college education has been free in the government schools and the government universities. So we offer these loans for education for the elementary and high school. Not necessarily, it is also free. Elementary and high school is also free here in the Philippines, but there are a lot of other expenses. Tuition is free, but there are a lot of other expenses that they need to they need to take out of pocket for this particular for them to be able to educate their clients. Then we also provide capacity building, which is what I mentioned earlier, to develop to really improve on their business and build those skills that are necessary. And then we also have business development services. As mentioned earlier, these are the wash loans I mentioned earlier. These are some of the products that we have. We also have renewable energy loans, and then some of the other programs that we work on for the environment are our networks program. So we work with a third-party organization based out of the UK to build a sustainable model for recycling used fishing nets, allowing the fisher folks and the people in the areas to change their behavior towards healthier marine life. So we buy the used nets and then convert and then ship it to be converted into carpet tiles. So that is actually those nets are actually being recycled. So as of today, where are we? As of January, we have 195 branches, more than 500,000 clients, 4 billion pesos, around 80 million US dollars in loan portfolio, a 98% repayment rate, and 3,500 employees. These are the products, and these are the figures that we have as of today. But what makes us successful? What makes microfinance and NWTF microfinance in particular successful? I'd like to share with you some of the basic principles of Grameen Bank, which we use at NWTF to ensure that we create the impact, that we see the results that we want. Number one is proper client targeting, and this is very important. Proper client targeting is making sure that the people who come into the program are actually the people intended to benefit from the program. And who are these people that we want to benefit from the program? These are the poor people, and this is why it's part of our social goals. And we track this regularly using the PPI, as I mentioned earlier. This is what the Progress Out of Poverty Index, or the PPI, in the Philippines looks like. There's sort of an indicator. There are indicators and there are corresponding scores and points for that. Okay? Second is second principle that we follow is the entrepreneurial freedom approach. What is entrepreneurial freedom? It's basically allowing our client and their family to choose which particular activity they want to work on. And how do we do that? Unlike some programs, there are so many programs out there where the client or the beneficiaries are taught certain skills, and then they are expected to do a particular type of business. We know that it is very important that it's the clients themselves, it's the beneficiaries themselves that are able to choose the particular type of activity that they will be earning income from. And how do we do that? We have what we call an IGSS, or income generating survival skills tool, which all our staff use. And then what they do there is do an inventory of the skills of the clients, previous experience, what they know and what they've experienced. What are the skills? We do an inventory of that, and we provide them with a snapshot of how much income based on an interview coming, and then they provide the information, and then we put it together, and then they see how much income they'll be earning from each particular skill that they know. And we don't make them choose. We don't push them to choose the one with the biggest income. It's them and their families who actually choose it. And based on that, a lot of them actually are working in the trading business, buy and sell small stuff. Then sari-sari store are your small retail shops here. So those two alone count for more than 80% already of our clientele, and then agriculture and a few others. This is basically their business profiles. Thirdly is the income generating and survival skills, which I mentioned earlier, and I'll go deeper into that. So we want to understand their motivation. It starts with their motivation. What are their plans? What are their dreams for themselves and their families? We want to understand that, because that is what we want them to reach in the future. And then we do a skills inventory, as I mentioned earlier. We do a skills inventory of skills that they have, or their husband, or even potential or even adult child has, which can potentially be income generating. And then we ask them how much capital is needed, and what are the potential, what is the feasibility of each type of business and each type of skill. And then we do a computation of their amortization based on the skill, based on the business that they choose earlier. And then when we do a computation of the amortization, we do not necessarily slash the loan. What we want to do is extend the loan, because instead of slash the loan amount, because when you slash the loan amount, you actually lessen their capital, hence putting a cap also on their income earning potential. And then we review. We also put in place a future business plan. So if the loan is released, or when the loan is released, what do they have to do? What will they buy? What will they purchase? What will they prepare? How will they sell it? So it's really a simple business plan. And this is tracked every cycle, every 6 months, every year, every time they take out a loan, so that we see if their motivation, if they're actually slowly reaching their motivation or their dream. Okay. Fourth is the group and center. The group and center in Grameen methodology is the heart, really, of the group in the center is the heart of Grameen methodology. What is a group? No, a group is really composed of 5 members, and these are 5 people living close to each other, which are able to monitor their business, see their day-to-day lives, and then tell us if the business is doing well or not, and then provide also moral support, moral and other support, to their group members. Putting together 5 7 to 14 groups, then 7 to 14 groups, you'd come up with a center. So normally in one village, we'd have one center, and that be composed of 7, 40 to 14 or 15 groups. So typically around 35 to 120 people in one village. Okay. What are the responsibilities of the group in the center, which needs to be followed every now and then? I mean, every time. Ensure business presence and continuity to assist NWTF or the microfinance institution in monitoring, support each other's loans, and then enforce discipline, and then ensure participation in other microfinance activities. Okay. Fifth is actually this one. It's really a project, how we do lending, no? Because we do not have any collateral. We do not require any collateral whatsoever. So what we want to make sure is that we start out with a small loan, and this is like a ladderized approach to lending, actually. So we start out with a small loan, and when they're able to repay that properly, then they move out to the next one and the next one, and then we build it in. Upon reaching certain cycles, then they're able to avail of the other types of loans which complement their business loans, such as the school education loan, asset acquisition, housing, and the like. So that is our loan process. We initially administer the PPI to check at which poverty level they are in, and then they present that to the group in the center, so that the group and the center, their proposal, they present to the group in the center, so that everybody takes responsibility for the client in monitoring the client, ensuring that when we release the loan, the client is able to use the money for the intended purpose. And then once we release the loan, we do a loan utilization check and make sure that the intended purpose of the money is really used properly, and so on and so forth. No, and then we complement all this with business development and non-financial services, which I mentioned earlier: health and wellness, education, and then business development. So you may ask, how is education linked to microfinance? These are some of the things I've thought about where microfinance can come in to support education. Firstly, microfinance can support education through income stability. The greater the income, the greater the demand for education in poorer communities. And we've really seen this. I've seen this in so many areas where we operate. In some of the more rural areas, a couple of years ago, a lot of their children were not actually going to school, or were dropping out from school in the middle of the school year, because they didn't have enough money to send their children to school, even though the school was free, because the school was too far from them and they needed resources to go there. Hence, microfinance can actually support this when there is income stability, and support education when there is income stability. Microfinance can also improve household economic productivity and social status. Okay? Through business development trainings and interventions such as financial, entrepreneurial, health, and education trainings. No? The nice thing about microfinance, well, microfinance actually started as just microcredit. And microcredit was mainly focused on the financial side of things. And we've seen that it will not work. If our intention is to have the clients or the beneficiaries and their families move out of poverty, then we need all these other services, or the non-financial services, because we need to complement credit. Okay. And microfinance is the potential to improve a household's educational standard by building various educational interventions such as scholarships, savings, etc. What we've seen is with microfinance, when they have extra income, then they save. As I mentioned earlier, with our IGSS, Income Generating Survival Skill Tool, then they actually track their dreams and aspirations for their children. And they find ways to actually save money when they have, so that they put it towards their dream. It's like you know, it's a long-term dream, it's a 10, 15 years in the making, but if you put in a little amount every now and then you'll be closer to that one step at a time. And then lastly, microfinance is really dominated by women. Our more than 500,000 clients, it's 98% of them that are actually women. And we've seen all over the world that women are more likely to utilize finances for household level benefits, such as placing more importance on educating children. I wouldn't discount as well men on this, but generally all over the world, a lot of, and this has been proven by a lot of microfinance institutions, it's really women who take care. It changes from culture to culture, and we've tried it. I think what you can do here, if you implement a microfinance program, is start with all women, and then at some point when you're ready, maybe try out or pilot a program with men also to see if there is a real difference. So with your group, with the Equitable Education Fund, what are some of the things we can particularly work on? There are 4 things I'd like to mention. Number 1 is we can work on microfinance in your target communities for existing income generating activities. So I understand that a lot of the groups that you work with or social enterprises that you work with, you've already formed them and you probably provide them some sort of capital. To make sure that your beneficiaries really work on them, I suggest that you start out a microfinance program for them to ensure and make sure that they put in or they fill in their responsibility. Only then, when they have responsibilities towards the money, will they also be very particular about their individual responsibilities towards the activity or the business. Secondly, individual microfinance as an indicator for access to bigger or even group community enterprises. I know that a lot of your programs are based on group or community enterprises, but I guess one other thing you can introduce is individual microfinance, especially if these individuals or these families also need some money and also have some skills which may not necessarily be the business enterprise that the group or the community is working on. And then thirdly, is to offer a wide range of business development social services according to their needs. I understand that you have a lot of partners and a lot of resources that you can tap, whether directly or indirectly. I think it is fairly important that we complement microfinance or whatever, as well as your group and community enterprises with business development and other social services, so that we can see we have a holistic approach to development. And then lastly, link the provision of microfinance to education or training services. We've done this in some of our individual programs, where the provision of additional loans or increasing their loans is based on if their children are able to continue schooling or not. If their children drops out, then they cannot go up to a certain level. These are some of the things I'm suggesting, but feel free to raise your questions later on, as I'd be open to answer those. And in the meantime, allow me to turn over the mic or the space or the time to Dr. Faiz.
Thank you. I hope it's visible. Well, my job today is to just supplement what Mr. Serios has mentioned in his description on microfinance and education. And I'll just pick up on the point very quickly, where the relationship of education and microfinance has been established in the world. And we call both of these as mirrors of equity. In societies or communities where there are higher education attainment levels, there are also quality of life enhancements. You can see that in the world in a number of places. Where there is access to money or resources so that people can take their own financial decisions, you will see that reflected in quality of life. And for us, these two mirrors of equity are actually very well integrated when you resource education through the provision of microfinance. I don't have a lot of time, and I think a lot of points have been made, but from our experience across the world, as you have seen, Grameen now works in over 50 countries. We have significant experience, almost 40 years of actually doing grassroots microfinance programs. So you will notice that we are able to establish that microfinance is able to be the key that unlocks resources to invest in family and children's education. And this is exactly the empowerment approach that Dunganon reflects. I've brought to you 3 or 4 examples. I'll quickly run through them. This is a very, very interesting example from Bangladesh. There is a nursing college now that is called the Grameen Caledonian Nursing College. And how this works is that microfinance or loans are arranged through the Grameen Foundation or Grameen Trust to pay the fee and scholarship costs of all successful young women who enroll or men who enroll in the Grameen Nursing College. So the girls don't pay anything, but they also get a stipend, they get books, they get uniforms, they get their whole academic program funded through a loan. But then this loan, they don't have to directly pay back until they are employed. So then once the girls are ready to graduate, they are placed through various efforts at some of the best places for nurses to work with. Nursing is a very high demand profession. So 100% of the graduates that we know of find employment while they're still in college. When that happens, the employer, with the agreement of the graduate, starts paying back the loan through deductions from salary. This is a complete cycle of financial education support that has worked very successfully in Bangladesh. And I thought, and this is nursing education, but it's true for other education. For instance, we have an auto mechanic program, which is very similar. This is funded through scholarships that people donate or people provide to the Grameen Shikha, which is a training outfit. And these scholarships are then diverted to training young men as auto mechanics. And again, this is something that is in high demand. And again, the scholarships then pay for people's fee to become auto mechanics. So a slightly different model here. There's a Grameen inspired program, which is now running, which is in Pakistan, not in Bangladesh. But the idea again is to secure loans or microfinance access through various mechanisms so that then that money can raise personal income and professional standards. But as part of that, scholarships are generated, which then focus particularly on women so that women can go to school, highly prioritized. And again, there is no payback mechanism because the fund that is created revolves and it pays for all the students. Inspired by Professor Yunus's idea. There are other men's programs, social business professionals must be trained. There's our own program. And the theme is to create job creators. The idea is that most students, in fact, the 100% present class has been placed in a job situation where they are earning as well as studying. And then as they study and they earn, the pressure to find money to go to this globally benchmarked program is not there much. And they're able to then develop a business plan. And then as they exit the program, the idea is that they have already become job creators by creating a business plan that will begin to work. So these were some of the examples that I brought for you very quickly. I had only 5 minutes, but I hope there'll be questions and we'll be able to take some more questions from the audience and maybe build on some of these examples. Thank you very much once again.